Hello and welcome back to Sam Explains the World. I'm your host, Samantha Bremekamp. And on today's episode, Marmalade and I are going to teach you how to make really delicious, super easy sweet potato chips as an alternative to delicious snack food. We're going to make some purpley water, and then we're going to use that purple water from the potatoes, its starchiness, for the garden because it's filled with vitamins and minerals that will really help your garden blossom. And there's nothing better than being able to utilize almost every aspect of the project you're working on, especially when it comes to gardening and eating. So sit back, relax. Thank you for joining me. And let's see where this goes. Marmalade's in charge. She thinks so anyway. So Marm and I, since it's a Friday night, are going to kick it off with our delightful partner slash daddy. And we're going to have burgers. The burgers we have found from Aldi's come all the way. It's like a cross hosting of Aldi's and Cattleman's Ranch, which is in Oklahoma City. And they have the absolute best burgers I've ever had. And the ones that we got for super cheap at Aldi's, bless you, Aldi's, has cheddar and bacon built into it. So you really don't need to add anything because it already has so much flavor. But Marm and I were thinking, what could we add? How can we make this more fun? Since the burgers are already made, you know how I like to make things, especially Marmalade. So this is what we did. You want to point that out? Okay, that's a mandolin. And this other thing is a purple potato. Thank you, baby. Let's put you down for a second so I can handle this. Okay. I just thought this potato was hilarious. I got this from Giant. Frida's Stokes purple. It's a sweet potato, so we're going to make sweet potato chips. This is just hilarious. First, I'm going to wash it. I'm going to remove the sticker. And then I'm going to use this mandolin for like the French fry size. And do not use a mandolin without one of these. You do not want to slice yourself up when trying to make chips. That's silly. But you're going to slice up the chips, which I'll take you through. You're going to get an ice bath, so water and ice. You're going to put the chips in it, and they're going to sit, and you're going to try to soak out a lot of the starch so that the flavor is better. When you end up putting them in the canola oil on the stove that's heated really nice to crisp it up real fast. But I'll show you that as we get to it, but they end up being delicious. The soak is super important. So follow me. I'll take you through it step by step. With Marmalade, who's currently across the room eating something, so hold that thought. So I don't know about you guys, but if you have an ice maker in your fridge that actually works, in the summer in particular, what I really like to do is I like to fill up some bags of ice and have that in the freezer part as the ice maker makes more for bigger projects. And if you're, super thirsty because it's a really hot day, you don't want to run out of ice, or if you're having a party or whatever. So for these potatoes to soak in ice water in a nice, delightful ice bath, let's pretend they're athletes, and to get the starch out, we're going to dump this in. It's going to make a loud sound, so hold your ear. You too, Marmalade. And because Marmalade is the best, I have to pay the ice tax because she's a puppy / a dog, so she loves playing with ice cubes. Here you go, Marm. Ready, and she's off. Okay, so now I'm going to add some water, and then I'm going to use the mandolin to slice up those taters and get the chips party started because it is Friday, and I cannot wait to celebrate it by staying home and away from people and eating delicious food with my guy and my best pup. Or if you're going to be social, good for you, but let's, pump the brakes, okay? Being social can sometimes be a little bit much if there are people. I'm just kidding. I love people, I love being social, but I also love staying in and making really cool stuff. Oh, hey, just wanted to show how much my girl loves ice. In case you thought I was, pretending. She's a dog, and it's hot out, and it's like crunchy and delicious. She gets one a day, maybe 2 or 3 because it's ice, so who really cares? And it's so hot out. It's like a little too hot for her to go running outside too much, so we do a lot of inside stuff, including the ice dance. Oh boy, look at her go. So talented. So tasty. And of course, the rest of the ice is now with the chips soaking out that starch so that the taste is a little bit better, a little bit easier on the palate. And this is like a purple sweet potato, so it's going to be different. We'll see how it goes. Marmalade's like, could you stop filming me and talking? Because I am busy with my ice cube. She'll bring it with her to her bed, outside to her house, in the sun. And then she gets very sad when all of a sudden the ice cube is gone. She's like, but. Ooh, delicious puddle. We washed this. Ooh. And now I'm going to cut it into thirds to make it more manageable for using the mandolin with. Super cereal. Look how unusual it is inside. It's beautiful because it's a purple sweet potato. We have our ice bath ready. We have our mandolin ready to go. I'm such a big baby. I always get nervous with this, so bear with me. Even though I've used it a lot, I am afraid of it hurting me in any capacity. So, you know, okay. Again, I'm like so scared of this, but I can use it and you can use it. Just be smart and be careful. I'm going to use, you absolutely should throw that first. It makes the flavor different. It adds an intensity. It shows you that it has grit. I'm just kidding. I mean, if you want to throw it, cool. So there are prongs underneath it. There are 4 prongs. There are holes in this. You're going to very carefully, slowly line it up because you don't want to become a pincushion. And if you do, we have some bigger fish to fry. I am so nervous. Luckily, we're all doing this together, and in 40 minutes, I'll totally get this to work. We washed this. Ooh. And now I'm going to cut it into thirds to make it more manageable for using the mandolin with. Super cereal. Look how unusual it is inside. It's beautiful because it's a purple sweet potato. We have our ice bath ready. We have our mandolin ready to go. I'm such a big baby. I always get nervous with this, so bear with me. Even though I've used it a lot, I am afraid of it hurting me in any capacity. So, you know, okay. Again, I'm like so scared of this, but I can use it and you can use it. Just be smart and be careful. I'm going to use, you absolutely should throw that first. It makes the flavor different. It adds an intensity. It shows you that it has grit. I'm just kidding. I mean, if you want to throw it, cool. So there are prongs underneath it. There are 4 prongs. There are holes in this. You're going to very carefully, slowly line it up because you don't want to become a pincushion. And if you do, we have some bigger fish to fry. I am so nervous. Luckily, we're all doing this together, and in 40 minutes, I'll totally get this to work. So as we're waiting for our chips to dry, I have put a pan like this. I filled it about an inch, a little less, with canola oil, which I have found to hold the heat the best without smoking a lot. And in the meantime, I have some things for flavoring, onion powder, garlic salt, garlic powder if I don't want to use garlic salt, spike seasoning, which I think is really good. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but of course I don't have it on me because I haven't found it here in PA. But Jane's mixed up crazy salt is phenomenal, and I add it to everything, especially cucumbers or like just fresh garden produce, and just eat it straight up. So good. But I'll be using maybe some sea salt, depending on how I feel after the chips come out. But I have all my seasoning. The oil's starting to finally heat up enough. And for my dry friends that are ready, I'm going to start frying them up and, you know, getting pumped to be able to eat this later and having an incredible amount of self-control to wait to share with my partner, not just eat them ahead of time. But you do, of course, need to taste your batch to test it to make sure it's okay, because you wouldn't want to serve your partner something that isn't, you know, delicious. So you should probably have a bunch of them first, just for scientific purposes. You know, making sure the batch is okay. That's just one of the many things one must do as the chef and captain of their kitchen. And it's a small price to pay for greatness. So I have the oil heating up on high, and it's really important to make sure the chips are super dry, because water and oil starts to spark up the hot oil back at you, and you don't want that to happen. So let's play it carefully and have a delicious good time. Oh, to flip the chips, I'm going to use tongs with little silicone. And I'll probably use the really long ones because I'm a baby and I'm afraid of hot oil. I highly recommend following my lead on that. You might be one of those people who doesn't feel things and cool, but I unfortunately feel everything. So anything to keep us safe. Gotta protect the moneymaker, you know? Okay, let's see how this goes. We'll do a close-up of frying chips. Super important too. As I'm about to start putting these bad boys in the fryer, I have something to put them on once they've cooked, and they're going to drain because they're filled with oil, hence cooking in oil. So I have a sheet and a baking sheet and a grate to go over it so that the oil can drip through. I'm going to put a paper towel underneath it to catch the oil to make clean up a little bit easier. You don't have to though, because it's going to rinse off. It's just going to be, you know, more oily if you don't use paper towel. But if you're super environmental, then obviously do not waste trees. But if you're me, you're going to, you know, use a couple just for quick cleanup. That's the name of the game. So, boy, it is starting to really, really, oh yeah. You can hear that? I'm a little bit forget. Woo! They are. Ah. You tell them safe. Cooking in more gently. What? What are the odds? Come on. What am I, amazing? Look at that. It fell over. Eventually. But remember, you want to put the same size chips in at a time so they cook evenly, and it's easier for you to decide when it is enough, when it is time out to remove the chips. If the oil starts spitting up at you too much, turn it down. You don't want to burn yourself or your partner or your puppy or a kid if they're running around. Be smart, make good decisions, oil safely, and have your prep station ready to put the drip-in chips once they are fried. You'll be able to tell because the color's going to change, which I'll show you, and the texture will change. So sit tight. Carefully monitoring this stuff without putting your face anywhere near the oil, hence me being super awkward, but we're used to that. I'm going to start to flip some of these with my super long tongs because I'm all about safety. Yes, you can tell because they're trying to curl a little bit. The oil is the right temperature. These are all the same thickness, so it's easy to tell that it's time to put them all, which is great. Makes it a lot easier. And now they're a little bit more brown on the one side because they're cooked than the purpley side. So that's how you know they're done. I mean, it's still more purpley than not compared to other chips, other potato varieties. But just like with chips, going from the golden or whitish flesh to crispy light brown, golden brown, depending on how dark you like yours. I like russets. I like the dark russets. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's delicious, but it just depends on what you like. So this guy, perfect, hard, delicious, right on the rack. And then all of his friends will follow suit. And I'll put in a new batch of ones that are the same size as each other. Different size of these. You hear some of them whistling, which is kind of funny. Air escaping. The oil attack. While they're sitting on here dripping, by the way, I'm absolutely going to season them as well, which I will show you. Have you do with me? You're not escaping this. I want you to be able to do it right. I want it to be delicious. And I want you to be safe. The things that matter the most. While the new batch is crisping up in the oil, I'm going to take all of my things and I feel like seasoning away. We're going to start with some delicious garlic salt. And I'm going to add spike. That's what I'm going to do with this batch. There we go. There we go. Fairly light on the spike. There we go. Had to beat it up a little bit. Whoop! Now, I've done too much. But the cool thing is, don't panic, don't start to cry, don't throw them out. Just put them in a bowl and mix them around because there's the other side that needs to get seasoned too. And of course, keep an eye on your other guys who are frying up real fast. It's important to maintain the heat of the oil and to monitor how much oil you have in it. If you're running out, turn it off, take a break, get rid of the oil that has been in there, and start new. I do not recommend adding oil to oil you already have heated up. For starters, oil starts to get, kind of dirty or burnt with whatever's happening that's staying in the pan. And also to make sure that the oil heats up evenly, it's just easier to start with a new amount. If you threw in oil after this has already been heated, it's going to change everything, including the temperature. Things aren't going to cook evenly. And also can be dangerous, especially if you don't have an electric stove, but you have like one of those really awesome fire burning ones with flames. Oil is dangerous with flames. So you don't want to be pouring oil additionally into really hot oil because it might splash back up or what have you. Cause a fire. So let's not cause a fire. Let's just cause some fun. We're just trying to make chips, guys. Sheesh. Great Debbie Downer. I want to call in the fire department. They're not going to be impressed by your culinary skills. I'll tell you what. A little bit. We'll put these all in a bowl once they've all kind of dripped and share the seasoning. So as an all new batch continues to cook, I'm going to take all the chips that I've already seasoned, that have already been sitting here. I throw them in a bowl and I mix up. So seasoning can be shared, and not one chip gets like over. Seasoned, not on my watch, not on your watch. All right, for the ones that are now also dry that don't have seasoning, I'm still going to add them to the bowl. If I need to add more seasoning, I will. If I don't have to, I won't. But they smell really good, and they're nice and crisp. Which you. going to be a good time. And this just reminded me of how much fun it is to make apple chips. But for that, I would use a dehydrator because I don't like the idea of taking something like an apple that's like a lot of percentage water and throwing it into oil. If you have different experiences than me with that stuff, awesome. Share, share, share. And if not, we'll figure it out together. I'm going to wait for the next batch before I start adding more seasoning. You hear that crunch? Mmm. I love the flavor too. Mmm. And big kudos to the ice bath for taking out the starchy starch. Because like, I don't know if you've ever tried to make it at home and you're like, oh, this taste is kind of whack. Whack attack. It's because of the starch. So easy peasy, always delicious. And then we'll take the ends and maybe do some experimentation or not. The day is young. Can't decide what I want. Mm, 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 mm. So Marmalade and I did some research while we waited for our chips to cool down. Turns out that water from potatoes or sweet potatoes becomes a natural fertilizer for plants because it is rich in magnesium, iron, phosphorus, and it promotes growth and flowering. So we're going to take this beautiful purple liquid right there. Thank you. Yes. Yep. Right there. What's that? Yep. And we're going to, now that it's cooled down, and by that I mean warmed up a little bit. Ice water is a little bit harsh for plants. And we're going to go add it to the garden because awesome. And we're not going to waste it. And it's really pretty purpley. So it's pretty exciting. So we just thought you should know because it's awesome. Thank you. Oh, she's so excited. She's so excited. My big napper. Marmalade's such a good helper. She did the research. She's really good at typing those tiny little toe beans. All right. Now we're going to go in the garden. So hopefully you'll be able to utilize some of this information. And if not, thanks for watching anyway. Say bye. And we out. Until next time. So however you slice it or season it or what have you, may your chips be as delicious as mine. I feel like they're kind of better for you because they're like purple sweet potatoes, not just regular potatoes. Being healthy. As we find in nature, fruits and vegetables and what have you, those that have more color, deeper color, have more benefits, more vitamins. And the same goes in the potato world. So good. So good. Well, thank you so much for stopping by this delicious episode of Sam Explains the World with your host, Samantha Bremekamp, as I take you through the trials and tribulations of learning how to do things less like an idiot, like the way I did it originally, and easier and more fun for you. So thanks for stopping along. I hope the rest of your weekend is fantastic. And thank you, BCTV, for hosting me.